Tip 2 for live online lessons is the start screen. And this is a really big one. And I definitely stole this from Doug Lemov's book. The start in a lesson, normally you might have a starter on the board or a secular task for students to do. And that's just as important, if not even more so important, when you are learning online. The students are coming in at different times. They're coming from different places. Maybe they've just got in. Maybe they've had another lesson. Maybe they've been borrowing a laptop from somebody else. The start screen is a really useful way to get everyone ready and started and appropriate for learning. That sentence made no sense, but I'm going to carry on. This is an example of my start screen that I use with my GCSE students. And I've got very clear instructions. You can see I've said do now, so there's no waiting around for me to get and tell them to get started or for everyone else to join in. You're doing it straight away. The biggest thing I think is having an equipment list so they know what they need. And within this, my number 1 is your camera turned on. Our school policy is that camera should be turned on. We're fighting a real battle if that's the case. And putting this as your first instruction, I found, has massively increased the number of students who turn their cameras on for me. Pretty much all of them do now, unless there's actually a problem with their camera. Problem, you never know if they're lying or not, but the vast majority of them do. Also, what else do they need? So for GCSE, it's just their physics book and a pen and a pencil, but for A-level, I ask for a little bit more. I also put all of the information for any kind of admin tasks here. I have write the date and title, write the homework is on there, and then complete the starter. And there's always a starter task ready for them because they will come in at different times. So you want to make sure they're not sitting around, hanging around, waiting for everybody else with nothing to do. You know, their time is precious, as is yours. And this means that you can spend time letting people into the meeting, admitting people, listening to their, oh, miss, my chat doesn't work. Oh, miss, my mute doesn't work. Oh, miss, this doesn't work. You've just got a bit more time for those admin tasks, and they're still being productive and getting themselves started. Just to point out, this is what my original starter task looked like in my normal lesson, my non-online lesson. So I've basically just taken that, and I use this format for every lesson for year 11 and year 10 or GCSE students. And there's not much changing that needs to be done. It's basically all there for me. I just have to copy and paste, and I keep the boxes there all the time. So for the next lesson, I can just reuse it and just change what the starter task or change what the title or change what the homework is. For A-level, I have a bit more of a bigger list. So this is my A-level kind of PowerPoint that you often see. Once again, the camera turned on is there, but I do ask them to try and use a mini whiteboard or some scrap paper and then a whiteboard pen or a felt tip. And I find that's really useful for getting them to do some thinking on their own. We actually, because of COVID, we decided to try and provide all of our students with a mini whiteboard. Obviously, that's really expensive. So what we did is we took white card and we laminated it and we hole punched it, and they all had their own mini whiteboard. So they now have those at home. But sometimes, like, we have them in our planners as well. And if worse comes to worse, scrap paper works absolutely fine. So it's exactly the same. It's just in my house style that I use for A-level. It looks a bit more sophisticated, I suppose. But it's got the homework. It's got what you need. It's got what they need to do right now. And this is what it used to look like. So you can see that there's not much of a change in terms of what I've written. It's just a slight change in how I have formatted it. And I've really, really found this has been a game changer in terms of settling the students, getting them ready. There's none, oh, I need to go and get this later on. There's no people leaving the screen to come back and get the things they need. They're just completely ready for the lesson. So it's a really good way to get everyone settled and started.